Hey everybody, welcome back to DeHaven Family Farm. As you can see behind me, we have our 1950 Farmall Cub, and if you have been following along the series, you'll see one of the last videos I posted of this tractor. It did not want to run correctly. The carburetor was acting up on it. It's actually leaking here, and I could kind of tap it with a hammer and run a little bit, but the choke isn't quite right on it. So I thought about rebuilding it, which is an option, but I thought maybe I'd try and find a carburetor for it. So I went on eBay, and I didn't want one of the cheap $28 Chinese things. So I found a rebuilt, get it out of the box here for you. This is a Zenith. It was a rebuilt Zenith carburetor. If you guys can see that there. And I thought that might be the way to go. Kind of get a quality original made in the USA. I'm honestly not sure. You guys tell me in the comments below, is this top piece original or not? Because I don't know if you guys can tell. There's a definite color difference between the bottom is kind of an aged looking metal and the top is a much shinier. So did somebody take this bottom piece and add a new top piece to it? I don't know. But anyway, so I got that and I was excited when it came in. And you got to remember that I'm new to these antique tractors. I drove them a lot when I was a kid, but never worked on them. So I don't know a lot about them. So I just assumed that this was maybe an original carb that was on the tractor, but it is not. This is actually, the carburetor that's on here is actually a Zenith carburetor. So these, I found out, were used in much later model Cubs, and I think into the number series. They were not used on these earlier Cubs. So while I do believe this is a Zenith carburetor, a quality carburetor, it's not the one that technically belongs on this tractor. So come to find out, neither is this one. Now, it will work on here, but the problem I'm running into, when I was trying to run this, if I fiddled with the choke a little bit, I could kind of get it to run. So this is the choke lever here. You can see this piece here spinning. The choke does not stay out on its own. And it's the same situation here. So this is where the choke lever would hook up on the back side. This one actually has a spring on it. This one seems to be missing the spring. But it always springs back to the off position where the choke is turned off. So that's kind of a pain, because that means you always have to hold this choke lever to have the choke on. I think, in looking at some photos, I think what I've seen on the newer model Cubs is there's actually, you can see a hole here, there's actually a cable that comes down, and the newer Cubs, or again the number series, they use a cable for the choke as opposed to this rod here. So the cable will stay put as you pull out on the choke. So, I have this. I'm not going to send it back. I'll put it on the shelf. Maybe I'll use it in the future. It'll be good for a spare, but I really wanted something that I could leave the choke on. So I went back on the old eBay and I found a Marvel Shebler, something like that. Say that fast 3 times. Whew. So this is, I'm sure it's a Chinese made thing. It doesn't actually say where it's made on it. I assume it's Chinese, but it looked like a better quality than the $28 ones. This one was about 60 bucks. And this is the actual style of what the original carburetor would have been on this tractor. So here's the choke lever. This is the way it mounts to the tractor. And here you can see when you turn the choke on, it stays on, and then you flip it back off. So when you pull on that lever, it's going to activate the choke and it will stay on. You don't have to hold it. And that's what I wanted. I wanted kind of the original style. It came with the gasket. So I was excited to do this video a while ago. This has been weeks of collecting these parts. So I was just kind of doing some sizing up here, and I'm like, all right, yep, that looks right. That looks, from the pictures that I've seen of the originals, that looks good. But then I look at this air tube coming down, and this is way bigger than what this one is. So here's the carb that's on there. And here's the one that was supposed to be on there. You can see a massive difference in the size of the air inlet. So then I'm like, well, what in the world's going on here? So I did some investigating and come to find out on these newer Cubs, or excuse me, the older Cubs, original ones, there's actually a metal tube that comes down from the air cleaner, and on each end of that is a little rubber piece of hose, and I have that over there. So I had to then order this and get the rubber hose to go back to the original carburetor. So I was wondering if the air cleaner had been changed, because of course, you know, it's like a domino effect here. But so I did a little investigating up there, and I don't know if you can see this. There's a hose clamp up there, and obviously it can't hold that on there because somebody just, after they put that on, they put this bigger hose on here, but it's not downsized for the air cleaner. It's just kind of resting there. It's not tight. So we're going to change all that today. We're going to get the right carburetor on there. We're going to get the right air tube on there. For today, it's not going to be painted the correct color, but I plan to paint the hood, and we'll do that then. And I got me a inline filter. So we're going to put an inline filter in up here somewhere as well. So that's all what we're going to do. I know that was a lot of talking, but I felt it needed some explanation, especially for you guys maybe getting into this or just wondering what in the heck I'm doing buying all these parts. So let's get some tools out and we'll get started. So the first thing we'll start with here is getting this gas line taken off. The fuel bowl is shut off, so all we have to worry about, jeepers, there we go. All we got to worry about is what's in the line. Next, let's take this air hose out of here, get this out of the way. Take that guy off, and boop, just pops right off. Like I said, that's not the right size. So I'm going to work on getting the choke rod off. You can't really see, there's a cotter pin back here. So I'll do that. And then we also have one other rod here to take off, a little cotter pin in the back. So I'll do that off camera because you can't see anything. All right, so there's one rod in the back there that I can't quite get to. Maybe we can just drop this carb and do it then. So we'll take these out. So here's the cotter pin I couldn't get out. I don't know if you guys can see that. I got the camera as close as I can get it without worrying about hitting it with my elbows. There we go. I had broken the bottom of the cotter pin off, but geez. There we go. Got the old one, old leaky. I mean, look at my hands. That's just how much the thing is leaking. Oh, and it is a Zenith. Yep, that's what we thought, but that thing is leaking like crazy. Now we do have our gasket yet here. There's our old gasket. We'll clean that surface up before we put the new one on. All right, so we have our air tube here with the two rubbers that go on there. So we're just gonna go ahead and get these tightened down, and we'll get this shoved up on there. Be one step closer here. All right, we got that guy tightened on there. It's gonna drive me nuts until I get it painted. But so the next thing I have to do is there's this piece here that goes with the choke, and I need to take that off to put it on the new carburetor. All right, so I cheated, and the little choke lever guy here, I know, very technical terminology. So I stole it from the rebuilt Zenith that I got. Instead of taking it off the old Zenith there that's a mess. So I did a test fit with it to make sure that it seems to work correctly. So I think we have it in the right spot. It may need an adjustment, but I think that's okay. So now we got to work on doing a test fit up here for this guy who doesn't want to fit in there. Oh, there he goes. And we need to see. I think that's going to be all right. Seems to be back and in the open position where we need it to be. So what we need to do now is get a new cotter pin to shove in there. We got to get our gasket ready to go on. I did clean that surface already. So we got to try and hold a whole bunch of stuff all at once here. So let's give this a go. All right, so I got a new cotter pin. I took a little one and I cut it down, so hopefully I don't have to fight with it so much. Putting it in here. That gas just keeps dripping on me. Okay, now we gotta get this guy bent around. Let's get our new gasket here on there and grab a bolt. Okay, so that's snugged up. I just got to tighten it up with the wrench. I'm going to try and do this choke cable underneath here. Okay, got that cotter pin in, and choke seems to work. Pull it out, it's closed off, it stays. Pull it in, it's all the way open, it stays. So that's good. I'm just going to snug up this screw over here with a shorter screwdriver. Carb is nice and tight on there, so I guess we'll go ahead and see this air hose assembly here. I'm sure it's going to make it, but it almost seems too short. What do I know? Seems like it's the wrong angle here too. So this is, how are we going to make that work? Huh. So I'm beginning to think that the air cleaner pipe they sent me is a little bit, was produced incorrectly. So there's what it's supposed to look like. And if you hold this one vertically, can you see the bottom down here, how that end curves up in the air when you hold the rest of it straight? That is what's causing an issue here. You put that straight coming down, and I'm going to drop my phone. And you can see how it wants to like jet up towards the carburetor. So after fighting with this thing for 45 minutes, I got it hooked up enough. I want to get the tractor running today, but you can see here how this comes down and goes up the hill. I barely got enough. In fact, that one's popping back off on me. You'd kind of get it adjusted where it needs to go, and then the tension of it being that this is the wrong angle just pulls it back off. You can see it's jammed in here. I had it so it wasn't touching there. I had all the hose clamps tight, and there's just too much tension on it, and it just walks itself right back. So, I mean, it's on there for now. That's not correct. I hate how this looks, but I want to see. Okay, sorry, camera died. But anyway, I want to see if I got the carb adjusted right, because we'll have to play with some of the adjustments on there. I just want to get the tractor running good again. So I'm just going to put up with this today, and what I'm going to end up doing is forgetting about this aftermarket nonsense, and I'm just going to get an old original one that has the correct angle, and of course it'll be painted some sort of red, faded red, whatever. But that's what we're going to do for today, just run it. So the next thing we're going to do here is we have to get this line cut and get our inline filter installed so we can get this put back together. Well, for better or worse, we're going to cut this fuel line here, and there's just not a good place to put one of these inline filters. The tractor's so small here, everything's tight. You have exhaust here and everything else, so we're gonna try and make it work here, I guess. Hope for the best. So I'm thinking about shoving this guy up in there, and maybe having this guy hopefully kind of bend down into there. We have some flexibility here, so we'll try and make it work. All right, so this is what I came up with. I was debating on trying to put the filter up in here, but the way this curves down, I think it would have been kind of a pain. So it's not pretty, but we fit it in right here. Believe it or not, this filter is actually not up against the tractor or these hydraulic lines. It ended up so it's not gonna rub, so that's good. The only thing I am a little concerned about is the size fuel line I had to use fit the filter nice, but it was a little bit big for the metal fuel line itself. So I'm not sure if here and here might leak, whether we'll have to double up hose clamps to help squeeze that. But I left a long piece of line. The fuel line comes all the way back to here and comes all the way down to here. So there's plenty of room there if I had to double them. So hopefully we don't have to do that. Well, it just came down and it's filling up here. And I put a bunch of gas in this yesterday because I had some. And overall the tank has looked clean, but just now as the gas has come pouring into the sediment bowl, a whole bunch of flakes of crap have come in there, and they're like silver or gray looking, so I'm not sure what that is, but I'm sure glad that we went ahead and put this inline filter in. I think I showed a picture or the camera down inside the fuel tank when I first got the tractor. It actually looks clean. I mean, there's no rust in there. So whether somebody coated it or painted it or did something and now that's flaking off, or there was just some stuff, you know, you can't see up here, but it's not rust colored stuff. It's not brown. So I don't know, but our filter has already done some work there and got some stuff. So that's good. I, at this point, am not seeing any leaks from any of the hoses, nothing running out of the carburetor. So I guess we can maybe give it a go here and see if she'll fire off. Oh, ho, ho. She's purring. Man, that sounds good. Wow. It wouldn't even run right with the other carburetor unless I sat there and played with the choke lever. She's not smoking or anything. That's fantastic. I guess our $60 carb so far is going to do its job. Doesn't appear as though we have any more leaks. We just got to get that fixed, but boy, is she purring. Well, all right, guys, that concludes this long video about the Cub and the carburetor situation and everything we got going on here. So, like I said, I'm going to find an original air pipe there to come down. We're not going to leave that one on there, but at least I can run it now. And there's still no leaks, so that's good. She runs really nice. I didn't even make any adjustments on the carburetor at all. You saw it wasn't smoking at all. So she's running really good now. Hopefully that carburetor will last a little while. And so the next thing I want to do is in the next future video, I want to get this belly mower off here. and I want to get the snow plow put on the front of it so we can hopefully push some snow. So stay tuned for that video, guys, because it's going to be pretty interesting. I've never, number one, never plowed snow with a Cub before. And number two, those tires are not loaded and I don't have any wheel weights on there yet. They're over there on the floor. And number three, the most important thing, the tractor does not hardly have any brakes at all. So I was hoping to get all that fixed before we went plowing, but I'm really excited. I want to get out there and use the tractor some, so we'll have to do the brakes after. Who needs brakes anyway, right? So you're going to want to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss that fun video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please don't forget to hit the thumbs up on your way out the door. Sure hope to see you all in the next video.